From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's Wash Talk.
Welcome to the Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today our guests are Phil Marquardt and Chris Zuchegno from Dencar and United Auto Wash. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in today on a nice, beautiful, sunny, not really, snowy day in Akron, Ohio.
Thanks for having us. As an operator, I just want to set the stage for what's going on out here with our weather. We had 2 days of snow and salt. It was brine, it was salt, it was all the good stuff. And the weather is cleared, the storm lifted. It's Friday. Here I am in the studio with you, and our car washes are running, and we are ready. So anyone that's ever run a car wash or made more money when it does this, they know exactly where I'm at right now and the feelings that I have, and life is good. So super excited for the weather pattern that's going on. We've got some really fun things to talk about today too here with you. And that as an operator, this is my heart and soul right now going on out there, and we've been preparing for this day for months. So.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people that get into the car wash business. They get out of technology and into car washing. You kind of went the other direction. You, as a car wash owner, got into technology. Tell me what inspired you to do that.
Technology to car wash technology, right? So, but still living in both worlds, and we'll continue to because they feed each other. But really what inspired me, and I'm going to read this right from the post that happened, okay? So what inspired me, this is what we've created with United Auto Wash and Dencar. So the two businesses are separate and independent, but they're related because of the operation that we run. So we're doing a 12 Days of Christmas giveaway that we started. Yep. It was an idea from one of our clients. It was a great idea. Our marketing team is running with it. We're having fun with it too. Our members and non-members are having fun with it. And I want to read our day 3 post that came in. So this is on Facebook and Instagram. We're engaging with customers, inbound, outbound type stuff, promoting our brand more of an outreach to other people. Mm-hmm. And day 3 on the giveaway, you can't script this. And we didn't pay this person to put this out there. This was all just came in naturally. And generally on social media, you hear a lot of negativity, mm-hmm. right? That's the channel that it just happens there. So I want to read this. It's from Kathy. I'm going to read it out loud, and there'll also be, you guys will see the post too if you're watching this video. Kathy shared, unsolicited, "We have been past members for 4 years, 2 vehicles. We love it year round, but especially in the winter. Our vehicles are always spotless in the winter. The undercarriage is treated. I can't see us never not being a pass holder." So wow. What inspires me? That, like, we created that experience. So this customer's experience was so good that she shared it online when normally people aren't doing that. Yeah, right. So she just came out and said it. And after reading that, I think of, wow, we created that. Mm. And we created it without people being required to be present to have this happen.
Expand on that.
So in car washing, the market has, you look at the 3 different markets. You got a tunnel market, the express exterior, which has exploded in the past decade. You've got the traditional in-bay self-serve market that's been steady state, has been rocking, but has been impacted by the express exterior because of memberships. And then you've got the C-store market, the mm-hmm. C-store gas station market, where they've got combo gas and car wash sales going on, but it's not really their main business, right? Mm-hmm. So the market side of the express exterior developed a membership program that people bought into and people enjoyed. And then as that started to grow, investment came into that space from private equity firms. A lot of different people said, wow, it's residual income, it's revenue, it's happiness. Let's go after that. So that market exploded over the past decade. There's no doubt. There's been probably a little too much building that's gone on. We're seeing that in specific markets. That market's facing some headwinds now. But the subscription is what launched it. Like when they moved to that, people said, hey, that's how I want to consume my car washing as a customer. I want to consume it this way. We didn't have that capability in the market that I was operating in. It just didn't exist. You had to have people. The answer to every problem was, oh, have your person do this. And that just didn't fit because we run the car washes 24/7, 365. You can't staff that. And if you try to, you will fail. And your costs will be out of, it just doesn't work. So you just have to move beyond that and think, how do I do that without people? that's why Dencar exists. That's what inspires me. So we went and set out, and we're not perfect by any means. You know, every startup company goes through its phases, and we set out to create that type of an experience. And this came in yesterday on our Facebook post. I can't make this up. It was just when you were talking what inspires you, that's it. I mean, that sums it all up right there. Because what does that mean for me as an operator? I have this customer and their significant other, probably. That's probably the second vehicle on that plan, or their child, or whoever it is. But I have them hooked, like they're happy. I can't never imagine not having a membership. And she's paid us $2,400 now already. Mm-hmm. And she's basically saying, I'll do that the rest of my life. Didn't exist.
Wow.
That's where we're at.
So you were looking for a way to have memberships and technology at your car washes that didn't exist. And that's, you just mentioned that. Can you share with us a little bit about that? Like, you know, so you have something that you want. It's not out there. You decide to build it. You test it at your car wash, and when it works really well, you take it to others. But I imagine there's some great funny stories in there too on the way to there. Can you share some successes and maybe some speed bumps that you encountered along the way?
Yeah. So successes. The first time you sell a membership and you migrate an entire system to it, it's a big deal. It happened. It was right during the beginning of COVID is when we made the big migration too. So we went from, you know, a couple hundred memberships to a couple thousand memberships very quickly through that time. And things change a lot in your business when that happens. And it doesn't happen overnight all the time. You've got to have the right conditions leading up to it. COVID actually really helped the business from that standpoint, because people were out and people were driving and people's cars were getting dirty and they couldn't go anywhere else and they weren't happy, and they go wash their car and now they're happy again and they go home. That's like the life people were living for those couple weeks during the shutdowns. Then they started the rest of it that happened after that. But that exploded our business like couple weeks, just launched it. And then when we had those successes, we started thinking of, what are these other things that we can do to continue to evolve the business? At that point, we really started seeing the fraud come into the business. And the fraud happened, which we said, wow, this is horrible at first. And then we changed our mind and we went, wait a minute, this is now a marketing opportunity. They're showing us they want to wash more vehicles. We need to create family plans. Kathy, family plan, right? That's what we went and created. So that didn't exist at the time either. And it was for us, we were going down a path that didn't have that in our plans, but we quickly pivoted because we were so small and so new. So we quickly pivoted to put it in. And now the architecture is built around that. Kind of a funny failure. I shouldn't say failure, but a funny event that happened is when you're running a startup company, you don't think about these things in the beginning. The office that we're currently in, that we're moving out of, we've moved our production. Now we're moving our support over the next 2 weeks. Current office has one bathroom. Okay. You don't think of the bathroom as any big deal, but when it's a couple people in the beginning, one bathroom's not a big deal. As the team grows, one bathroom becomes a contention point.
Yeah.
And it becomes a conversation piece, even in Monday morning meetings, about one bathroom. Wow. So new facility has 2 bathrooms, men's and a woman's, and multiple stalls in each bathroom. So we're good for a while on that. But then also the location of offices by the bathroom is also important too. So the little shop we were in, my office was next to the bathroom. So if you've ever ridden in the back of the plane, you'll know exactly how I feel every day sitting in that office. But that,
boy.
So now that we're moving, there are also no offices anywhere near the bathroom. So that's a funny, you don't think about it, but it's like life. And just something you rewind and you think about. Now it's kind of comical and it's funny, but it was a contention point. So it's fixed going forward. But,
nice. Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. You got to have enough coffee cups for everybody, and you got to have enough bathrooms.
Right. Two hand in glove.
Yeah. Well, Chris, tell me about where the industry you were in before you came into car washing, and share some of the observations that you've made since you got in the business.
Yeah. So before this, I was in industrial parts distribution. So basically, just sold parts to factories, help keep the machines, going. A lot of similar products and stuff, but just kind of having that distributor mindset. And then just coming into here and kind of, being more of the OEM and just, but still recognizing the distributor problems and where they're coming from. So that's nice to kind of have the circle. But some of my observations have just been that, you know, I totally agree that with Kathy that, you know, I have multiple memberships, you know, at multiple different car wash brands, just because I want to make sure my car's clean. And, you know, everything's so expensive these days, you know, why not keep it clean? So I love that. And I just love the system that these guys have put together. And it's great. I think one of my biggest takeaways is, especially for the smaller operators, is we're kind of giving them that big company ability and still be a small family owned, you know, operator. So they can have the tech like the big boys.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, a car wash is a lot like a factory. The input is a dirty car, and the output is a clean car, and it's a whole bunch of machines that are doing the work.
Yeah, robots.
Robots.
Bunch of robots we're running. People lose track of that. We're running robots. You know.
Yeah, I mean, especially yours. No people.
Unattended robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So it's fun, but it's fun, and it gives a customer that feeling when they're done, like Chris said about being happy and it's clean. It's a happiness business, always will be. You know, it's personal pride, taking care of your stuff, and fitting it into the time frame that you have available in your life. That's the other point of the industry now. People's lives are so busy. You know, not until you hit retirement, then it becomes unbusy. But then you're at a point where you need to have a machine do the work on your car. Right?
Yeah.
So we all feel it, right? Every day, right? You age a little more and you feel a little different. So there'll be that point in life where, hey, I want a clean car, but I just want to run it through.
Yeah.
You know?
You shared a funny story. I don't know if you're comfortable sharing it on the podcast about
we'll see which one you're remembering here.
Yeah,
let's do it.
A situation in your own family that you own lots of car washes. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So as a car wash owner and a car wash guy, you want to keep your wife's car clean. And I really learned more about that constriction in time and family because my wife and I, we both have very busy schedules. She's got a very busy schedule. And her car wash routine would be at a competitor's car wash occasionally because ours was out of the way. So convenience of washing is so important, and that really hit me home. And I'm nothing against my wife on anything about it. It's her life and how she's running it and how our family runs. So, you know, if you're not convenient in a person's routine and route, the odds of them washing with you go way down, right? So that really struck me with marketing and how we need to continue to evolve our marketing platform, which we'll get to in a little bit too, as customers' trends show themselves to you. So the idea of knowing who you're marketing to is what you want, right? And a lot of the time in car washing, it's very random. It's just a car run by the wash, right? Who was that? They didn't pull in a wash. I'd love to market to that person. So that street level data is like the holy grail of car wash marketing. I really believe that. We're investing in that right now. We've been partnered up with a company we've been working with on that, and we're excited to do more with it. So it's going to be, I hope it turns out like we feel, because you never, you know, when you feel something and you start to develop it, you don't always work out perfectly with it. I remember earlier on in my career, I watched a presentation by the chief technology officer of Parker Hannifin up in Cleveland, Craig. And Craig was talking about innovation inside of Parker Hannifin, which is a big deal. Parker's a very innovative company, been around over 100 years, very innovative. Craig said, fail fast. And it was 15 years ago or so, and it stuck with me. You go to those big seminars and you're looking for that one or two nuggets that stick with you for your life. Craig's comment of two comments in there: fail fast, celebrate failure. So like people, like our minds don't really work that way, right? Most people, oh, I failed. Okay, what'd you learn, right? Don't take a long time to fail, because that becomes expensive, possibly detrimental.
Yeah.
Fail fast on those things. And then what'd you learn? Celebrate the success and change. So I really took that to heart with Craig, and I have to remind myself of that at times because it is hard. Mentally, nobody likes failure, right? Everybody wants the success, but success generally comes from failure. And when you're running a startup company like we have been, we're beyond the 5-year mark now. So most companies fail in the first 5 years. That's just the way it works because it's not easy to start something up. You have a lot you have to go through, especially something as intricate and as involved and specialized as what we do. The driving force that keeps us going is that inspiration from our car washes. So that's, we've had the car washes 15 years or so, roughly, in various states and places, locations and places, not states, but locations and places. And those keep us going. So that we know what we're doing. We develop for those. We have the best ideas that we get to are from customers a lot of the time. We'll have our own ideas because we can see what we do and we can see what we can do. But then we'll have very innovative, provocative operators that are like, hey, what about this? And it's like, oh, we didn't even think of that. If we do X, Y, and Z, we can stitch that together and boom, we can do what you just asked for. And that, for us, did not exist from other companies because when you go to a bigger company and you're like, hey, I want you to do this for us, like build this unattended membership program that doesn't need people to run and does it 24/7. And they all say, not going to happen, not going to work. We're focused on the express exterior market because that's exploding and they have people. The people just deal with the problems, right? If a dirty plate comes up and it doesn't turn on a car wash, what happens? Dust off the plate or somebody puts them in and says you're good, right? If you don't have a person there to address that, you have a very bad experience for your members. It compounds. Chris and I were going through the parking lot here after this snowstorm, surveying all the cars' plates outside that would not read on these plate readers. And I was sharing with him about our experiences with that, and that's why we've done things different. So it's a long-winded way of saying innovation happens, failure happens, fail fast, learn from it, keep on rolling, and know that your operators and your partners will have great ideas for you that you can stitch together. And it really keeps our business motivated and going.
That's actually a good segue to my next question. You talk a lot about Morse's law, and I'd be curious to know how you feel about that as far as the car wash space. Like, do you see it taking hold in our space?
You can't ignore Moore's law. So Moore, MOORE''S law, comes out of the technology industry. It's been tracked since 1970.
Yeah.
So that's 50 plus years now. So it's officially a law. It states compute power doubles and cost half every 2 years. So computing power, which we're all still seeing, and computing and technology doubles, costs go down in half, and that happens every 2 years. Moore's law applies to technology and relentless innovation in technology. It also applies to how we run Dencar. So as technology progresses, and we've gone through an inflationary period that had a bunch of different things that happened to different supplies that we take as an input, and we've tried to maintain our price position that we have today, and then also know that rapid innovation in technology is going to come down, like license plate reading cameras. Let's take that for an example, right? What does a license plate reading camera cost, right? Some companies try to charge $12,000 for that, a few $100s, right? So that's a perfect example of Moore's law. The compute power, the technology innovation that goes into that, it's going to keep coming down. And we don't take the position of trying to raise a price for that. If we see an ability to provide a more cost-effective solution for a customer through something like that, because license plate reading is going to become commoditized. You can get home DVR and NVR systems that'll read license plates now. That's not $12,000, right? That's a couple $100, right? So it's going to continue to come down. We take that and try to offer that as a more price advantage to our customers. That's how we would want to be treated too. So we know everybody has to make money in this to stay in business, but we also know that we need to make our money over time and not try to make it all at once with a customer, and know that fair pricing based on technology solutions that offer what the customers are after will get you through. And we've been very beneficial in that, both at our car washes and through Dencar, in that we are able to provide innovative solutions at very cost-effective prices because nobody wants to pay more than they have to for something, right?
Yeah.
So we understand that, and we try to work that in, and Moore's Law is an outstanding example of technology evolution and how we're taking that approach into the car washing business.
I'd like to shift gears for a moment and talk about site level memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me, first explain like what that is, what it looks like, and how it's working?
So a site level membership, just to demystify it a little bit from our term, we're not very fancy in our terminology of what we call stuff.
Yeah.
We are not. So what it is basically you have a site, you have services at a site, you have a membership. Memberships are memberships. When people consume in a membership, they're buying a package, right,
Mm-hmm.
of stuff like Spotify, for example. I have a Spotify membership. I can listen to basically any podcast and any music that I want now. I don't have to run to Camelot Music and pick up a CD and pay $12 for it and then hope I don't break it, make a copy of it, all that stuff. That's gone, right? That world is gone. That same membership concept that's gone from your mobile device, your subscription to watch services like Netflix, your subscription to listen to services like Spotify, Amazon, they're all after that residual revenue, just like the tunnel car washes were. So at a site, you have services. Those services can be built into packages. Those packages are your membership tiers. At United, what we use is bronze, silver, gold, platinum. We only do bronze, silver, gold because we believe in just 3, because 4 is too much thinking for people. The more they think, the less they buy. So we just keep it at 3. So we use bronze, silver, gold, and we use that because the Olympics reconfirm that every 2 years as to what's the better and what's the best, what's the goodest. That's just confusing. So we do bronze, silver, gold. Very simple. Less thinking, the better. If you've pulled up the Taco Bell, when you pull up the Taco Bell, can you read that whole menu?
No.
You?
I never thought of it that way, but no.
I'll take a number 2, please. I mean, that's what it ends up being, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They have all that stuff, and there's cars behind me. This is the same thing that's going on at a car wash. There's cars behind me. My kids are in the car, yapping different orders, right? That happens, right? It's not yapping. It's just that's how life is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want this and I want this, and I'm trying to remember it all, and I'm at the I'll just take a number 2, a number 4, and a number 6. We're out, right?
Yep.
Can't read the whole thing. So that same premise in car washing. Keep this menu simple. And the packaging of it, though, now becomes the site-level membership standpoint. So what you can do in our system and where we're heading with this is you can package up your services, and this is all ready. So it's out in the field and out in the wild, and then it's in its beginning. You can package your services up, and you can package them into different bundles that people can subscribe to based upon what they want. So it's kind of a la carte, if you will, but not everybody gets everything. So they're going to consume the package that they want. If you want to give a bronze car wash, gets a bronze car wash with a vacuum addition that they can use, and also that's it for them. Let's just say that. You want to do a silver package, they get a silver car wash with those features in it, plus a vacuum, plus self-serve preparation time, using your self-serve bays as an in-bay guy. That's like bug prep, wheel well prep. That's a big deal for people. They will get out. They'll get out of their car and do that, right?
Because you say wash like a car wash owner.
It's washing like an owner. When I go to the place, that's how I wash, right? This is how I wash my car. I hit the wheel wells, I hit the bugs, pull in the auto, and it takes care of the rest, and I'm out, and it's perfect. And I didn't talk to anybody, and nothing touched my car. That's my preference of that. And then let's say in your gold package, you want to add gold wash, vacuums, self-serve prep, and something else you have at your site, like a pet wash.
Mat cleaner.
A mat cleaner. You name it, a rug beater, whatever. They got whatever you have at your site, because those 3 markets we have of the tunnel, the self-serve, and the C-store, a lot of these self-serve operators have a bunch of different businesses. And a lot of tunnel operators actually own self-serve in-bays too. And we can make this membership package, because the fundamental tenet of what we've done is build a membership environment. We can make that span all those different channels. So it doesn't matter if you have a tunnel or an in-bay or a C-store, it can work at all of them. There's no problem with our system. There's just a bunch of flexibility in how you can do it. And then this site level membership lets you package up your services at your site or sites to offer those as membership packages to your customers. So the industry, I know it'll work for the quality of the wash of the customer. I've done it myself for decades, over a decade, I should say. And I know it'll work. It's just getting that out in the wild, letting our customers then experience it, and then they start telling their friends. So that's the site level membership, and we've got it working. We created this. We had been searching for years for the right credit card reader, debit card reader, with a touch screen on, we could sell a membership at the terminal. The reason we really like selling at a terminal is it's a purpose-based application that doesn't have any other interruptions going on it. So the idea of selling on a mobile device is wonderful, but there's so much going on now on someone's mobile device that you can advertise very well. You can sell on it, but when you're in a car and you've got, kids in the back, somebody's, the dog's throwing up over there, who knows what's going on. I mean, there are all kinds of stuff that goes on, right?
Yeah.
And I have 15 Facebook messages coming raining down on the top of my screen that I'm swiping up on trying to buy this thing. That makes it tough. It makes it tougher. And the more friction you put into selling something like that, the odds of it happening go down if there's not a person there pushing it. If you have a person there selling it, it takes away some of that, right? Because they're in the moment and they're going to push it, right? They're going to drive it. They're going to get the sale. Keep in mind the tenet of no people required, people can help if they're there. That's where we came in differently. And that site level membership lets you package all these things up to where you can offer it in tiers to your customers as they want. And you can sell, redeem, and activate the membership on this little device. It is a credit card reader. We've been searching for this thing. It took us years to find the right one. This one's out in the wild working. This video shows our test site and how it's working at our car washes.
Yep.
And you can walk up to the vacuum. You can hit the I want to buy a membership button. You can put your phone number in. You put your card in. After that, it approves the payment, texts you a link, and you're off to the whole rest of the system that we have developed for years.
So where do these terminals go?
They can go at any point of contact that a customer has with a service at your car wash that they're going to pay for. So at a vacuum cleaner, at a self-serve bay, at an in-bay automatic, which we already have those, at a rug beater, at a pet wash, at a vending machine, at a Coke machine if you want even. I mean, you take your pick. They can buy a membership anywhere they are.
I like the example that you used too of sometimes when, say you get a first-time person that comes into the car wash, they're like, okay, I see that, you offer memberships, but I don't know if this car wash is even good. It may not be any good. So you're like, okay, I'll just do the single use this time. But then you pull around and you go to the vacuums and you get out of your car and you're like, oh, it does look pretty good. I do like this place, and then you walk up to the vacuum and it asks you, you want to buy a membership again for, and you're like, actually now I do, but if you didn't have that, you would have possibly lost out on that. You would have hoped they come back, but it just gave you that one extra chance to try and get them.
So you're tapping into the customer's thought process, which is what we do at our washes by evaluating and watching all this stuff. And when they first come on your property for the first time, the odds of them buying a membership are not that high. The only way they will buy a membership, and this is my personal belief, I'm willing to talk through this with anybody, they'll buy a membership if their friend told them this place is good, right? Or if you've got a super great deal that leads to a lot of churn, because if they're just buying on price, now they churn out because, hey, the promo's over, I'm out,
yeah.
right? Or you've got a really good salesperson that's going to sell that deal. And that also can lead to churn on the sales side if it's sold the wrong way to the person. So what we do is we just consistently, through the pay stations and the virtual pay stations and the online presence we have, we consistently put the information in front of the customer. It's consistent. It's every time. It shows up. It puts it there every time. We put it on the marketing displays to show the information. We put on some pamphlets that they can take with them. I feel really good about right now because leading up to the storm, we had restocked all of our pamphlets. There's a lot of pamphlets that we had to go restock again. So people are pulling the pamphlets out as they're coming through, and that's them they're having a thought, right? They're having a thought about this. Oh, I grabbed it and I take it home. It's with them. They can read it. They can also buy from there. We've got the ability to buy it online from there. So they can scan and buy from wherever they are. When they pull back up to the pay station, it's right there again. So you got to get them thinking about that and get them in the moment, because in the moment they will buy. When they leave the moment, the odds of them buying go down.
Presented from the Ishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Well, let's put on our lab coats and our safety glasses or goggles.
Walk by the bathroom?
Yeah, we'll walk by the bathroom back to your office. And I want to talk about your Dencar labs. You know, like what you're always working on something exciting. Every time we hang out together, you're telling me what you're working on. What are you working on right now?
So we've launched a few things that have been coming out of there. We debuted some of it in Nashville at the ICA. We debuted, again, we're not fancy on our names, the Eco 10 pay station. So the Eco 10 pay station is an economy-based price with all the functionality of our full pay stations to where we took the opportunity, we're using Moore's law on things to try to bring down the costs on these things as we were obtaining the components, using quality components too still. But it's a 10-inch touchscreen environment, does memberships, does single wash sales, does fraud mitigation, does membership redemption, does card and cash. So it does the whole shebang with the license plate reading system included for 20 grand. That's a price point that is really competitive. And as people are looking at costs of machinery versus cost of labor, if you can make that connection, it sells itself. This is your sales agent in front of customers that you don't have to have a person there for that. Now, I believe the kiosk is important up front, and it's important for single washes. Once they become a member, the kiosk is pretty much irrelevant, right? I mean, have you touched? No. Once you're a member, it doesn't matter anymore.
I just still look up at it when they say thank you.
Yeah, you see the video, right? That's what you're seeing. So we know that it's still important on the upfront part, but then once you're a member, it's pretty much irrelevant, right? So, but your single washers, you want to keep them coming. You got to give them a good image, good interaction point. So the Eco 10's out. It also does cash recycling too. So cash has gone down, and it's going to continue to go down. There's no doubt. It's still out there. It does cash recycling to where if you give it money in bills, it gives you change in bills. So no one likes to sit like this and get rained down $10 of quarters. Right? Oh, shoot, right? I don't want that. How am I going to spend that? So it does cash recycling too. Cash is going down. It's very easy to service too. Just easy components. Most everything that we can buy off the shelf, we do. Some of the stuff you can't, so you have to buy specialized stuff, but we just keep those prices as reasonable as we can on that. So the Eco 10's out. We've come out with this virtual pay station. That has been a long time in the works, getting that ready. It's out in the wild. First couple customers are being shipped out like next week for that as well. So super excited about that. We built an RFID tag reuse program. So remember the switchers market of people that have memberships? A lot of them have a lot of RFID tags out there, right? And that is a nightmare trying to climb in a car and peel it off, change to something else. It's just, or leave an ugly decal up for a customer if you don't need it anymore. We built a reuse program for that. That's been working. We learned that, funny story how we learned about that. As we were developing it, we had the antennas pointed at the street. And pointed at the street, it was a very busy street down the road here from the studio. And all these RFID signals started coming in. We're like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff going on the street. And it's just tags. There's just tags, and they're bing, bing, you're binging them. So we were like, hey, why don't we, whatever tag they have, whatever RFID read we can get from a vehicle, which some of the vehicles are even emitting their own RFID signal now. Never thought of that, right? They're emitting their own signal. We can use it. So it's not specific to any tag or anything. It's just a read. So a little preview of something we're working on over the winter. The ad already exists, but next year for car wash entry acceptance or entry activation, we're going to have some pretty cool stuff coming out that utilizes a bunch of different comparisons to then authenticate a vehicle and pop them in without a person, or using other technologies that are out there too. So we're going to keep that under wraps a little bit right now, but we're working on that in the lab. That one's going to be, we're going to be trying it at our place as soon as it's ready, just like we do with everything else. And we'll be taking it to the market. We put in a billing migration as well for those customers that have an existing program. The challenge with moving a membership program is your members, and getting the data to move them is a challenge. You have to have a willing, cooperating company to deconvert data and then receive data, ingest data, and use data. That deconversion part is pretty easy when you have access to the data on your own, but the part you don't have access to your own data on is the credit card data. There's something called a token for the credit card that's a big deal. We've done a token deconversion and ingestion and relive with RFID reuse. We did that about 2 years ago the first time. Learned a lot because the deconverting company had to cooperate, and they did not want to cooperate. So we said, wow, we don't want to start fights all the time with these companies. It's kind of draining, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's worth it in the end, but it's draining for that. So we created a service for exporting of data, ingesting of data, and then reuse of data. And if we don't have the data, go ask the customer for the data. So when we started reading on the street and looking at all that stuff, we're like, wow, we can do a lot of different things. So as a customer, if they roll up, if they had an RFID, there's a lot of RFID tags out there and a lot of RFID systems. As they roll up, if we see their RFID tag, we can read that tag, we can associate it with this plan over here and this bill date. But we don't have their cell phone number because these old systems, there was no requirement of a cell phone number. We don't have to have that to start, but we want to get that to keep a relationship with them, to now do CRM activities with their phone number, to market to them, to do refer a friend, to do all these other things that are coming here. So the system asks them for their cell phone number. Customer inputs it on the touchscreen. The system then says, do I have their card or not? So if we didn't get the card for the tokenization process, this process would kick off. If we already have the card, it just ignores it and it fires the wash and lets them in. But if they don't have the credit card or debit card on file, it then also uses that nice little card reader that they just have to stick their credit card in and not have to do anything on a phone again. Use the automation, use the technology. So they would input their card, the system kicks off the process, it charges them $0. And we tell them that too. So it charges them $0, creates the token. So now that token's created, you didn't have to deconvert it, you recreated the token right there on site. After the token's created, it's set up for their bill date. So now it's going to bill on that date in our system. And in the old system, all you do is every day you get a report that says, these are the new tokens. Go over into the old system and delete, 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 delete. Next day, delete, 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 delete. And then after a couple weeks, that's pretty much gone. What's left in your old system, your ghost users, right? The people that come in once every 3 months, 4 months. Well, you want to keep those billing, right?
Yeah.
So you keep billing them in the old system. And then once the revenues of the system are less than the service fees that you're being charged, then you turn off the old system. So now you've elegantly kept your revenue stream whole, migrated your customers either with a token export or without a token export. So we have that covered both ways. And now you're off and running. And you're taking advantage of these new innovations that we have that are either here or coming.
You know, you mentioned a few things about marketing to customers, and that's where I kind of wanted to go next. You know, I mean, there's a I mean, not just in car washing, everywhere. The marketing technology is really impressive. You know, I mean, there's more ways to reach people than ever before, but people are also being reached in more ways than ever before.
It's overloaded.
Yeah.
Right?
So what are some like best practices, some thoughts you'd give car wash owners on how they might be able to be leveraging technology to communicate with their customers and to market with customers and prospects?
So I look at it, and I've learned this from one of our very experienced operators down in Savannah, Georgia. You've got your on-site marketing and your off-site marketing, right? So you got to think of it in both channels here. And they're both use cases. There's a bunch of different channels that you go through. So your on-site marketing, your signage, your advertising, your cleanliness, your wash quality, your presentation of people if they're there. If they're always there, they're always there. But if they're there, their presentation, you know, what's your experience like? So you're marketing your experience at your site. And we invested in digital signage, which has a place. We thought it was a bigger place than what it is. Digital signage gets read 10, 14 days a year because that's when there's a line.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's when there's an actual real line and people are stopped and looking at it and it's busy. Those days we used to be backed up to the street, they've dwindled, right? So those days have changed. We wash more cars still, but those days have changed now because we have people coming through on memberships more frequently and not just on the busy days. That happened in the tunnels a long time ago. The in-bay operators are starting to feel that now. But so you got your signage on site. It's important. Your on-site marketing is really your experience from the customer. How does it feel? Is the trash kept up? You know, are there weeds growing? There's just stuff, right? They're feeling. You don't come to the car wash. How's the bay look when I'm going through it? You may or may not think that's a big deal, but you want to keep all that clean, right? So then you've got your off-site marketing. Offsite marketing is about brand awareness and also trying to reach new customers to come visit you. The people that are already visiting you, doesn't take much to market to them because they're already there, right? Members and non-members. So how do you reach more people now? And there are companies in the industry that have done a great job at this in terms of engagement through electronic means, texting, emailing, customer service. I think this is where you need to invest your marketing dollars, is into those devices, because that's what's with you. That's what, I mean, I read that Facebook comment from our people on there, and this thing's in my hand all day, every day. So it's the way that we're going to be investing our marketing money and dollars into our, we have a little platform called Car Wash Communicator. It was initially built for customer service, inbound, outbound type issues and questions, because site issues are site issues. Those happen, but then when you move to memberships, you have stuff. There's stuff that has to be done. It's cards on file, questions about it, adding vehicles, deleting vehicles, updating vehicles, replacing vehicles. There's administrative work that we have an app that people can do it through. We encourage them to do it through the app because it doesn't cost us much, because they can just do it on their own. But there are people that will call or text. And if you're the tunnel environment, you handle those with your people on site. That's just, they're there. They take care of it. Well, when you don't have people on site, how do you do all that, right? You have to go figure this out. So we developed this communicator platform to take care of that customer service work. And now we're going to be turning that into a marketing engine. And that marketing engine is going to engage on their mobile devices in some way and fashion. And then taking that a step further, what I mentioned earlier, that street level data is like the holy grail of marketing data. Like my example of my wife and washing the car, that's just the real life. It hit me that, oh my gosh, you have to, it's the convenience, right? You have to have the convenience, or you either have to have something super special or a price that's super special. That's what you have to get the person to wash. So the days of sending out a zip code mailer to 10,000 people that is ridiculously expensive to get a 0.02% capture rate of those people actually coming to engage with your business, we can do things a lot smarter and a lot more efficient. And that's something that's coming from us. I won't go into too much of everything that's coming, but we're working on that as well. So that's going to be an exciting one, because I mean, I'll be just totally real about it. As a car wash operator, I want to make more money and I want to work less. I'm just
as a podcast host, I want the same thing.
I mean,
Me too.
that's where my head's at. And I want happy customers, right? So that's, as an operator, that's where my head's at. And I know there's work that goes into it all, because, as one of my general managers says, this just doesn't happen, right? We got to do the work. So we're doing the work, but then I want to make more money and work less, right? So that's what we're trying to do on our end. And memberships help to expand that reach, expand the net of people. There's still an awful lot of dirty cars out there, so they need washed. It's just, we got to get them to wash, right? And there's been an explosion of car washes built, and a lot of people are just, all after that same customer. And now we got to get more customers in. So that's where you're going to see us evolving into more marketing efforts that utilize the device and the data that's available to us of the customer's behavior and their patterns. So we're excited about that. I can't wait for that to go live, because I want to make more money and work less. Hit that, and that's going to help enable it, because it just uses more of the system we already have built, right? Just more of the system, more volume on the system. So a couple other things that we've been working on too. Nobody wants to think about the back end architecture of a system like this, because they just all use the front end, right? So we've invested in the back end infrastructure of our platform. We moved everything to some really high-end Amazon Web Services. This is stuff that big companies want to have. Some of the big companies I used to work at desire to have this, and they can't get to it because it takes so much time and money, and they have all the legacy systems they have to support. So we were able to just greenfield go into it. So we've upgraded our back end of the system. We've put in a technology called Kubernetes. It's what Google runs on. Google opened it up to the whole world through open source code. We're running on that too. We're really excited about that, and that's more the nerd in me coming out. Not many car wash operators are thinking about that stuff. And then we've put in our C-Store gas pump integration. So as I mentioned in the beginning, that third market there, we didn't have that. We had to go figure it out. It took some time. It's been figured out. We have it running with Verifone and Gilbarco C-Store POSs. So that infrastructure is up and working now. That service is up and working now. We added the ability to surcharge for sales tax on card transactions. Doesn't sound very innovative or sexy, right? But that's a lot of money for those operators that can surcharge like that, and they want to surcharge on that. You talk 6, 7, 8% on your revenue that you're paying because you can't charge it extra. Well, now you can just charge it extra and you make that back. It's a very fast and easy ROI. So we had a customer come to us and request it. We were able to develop it and do it, and they've been implemented and running, and others are implemented and running it too now. So that's in. We also added the ability, like the restaurants, how when you walk up to a restaurant and they say, hey, your cash price is $50, your card price is $50 plus 3%. Which do you want to pay? So we can do that too for a credit surcharge. So while we were doing taxes, we're like, hey, we see this trend happening of card surcharges, build it in, offer it as an option. People don't have to turn it on, but it's an option too. If you want to, if an operator wants to kick that on later, it's available and it's there. So they can also, it's margin. That's a couple % margin to, if people want to go that way. That's a big if. I personally, we don't do that. I believe you package that into your pricing, but we have other operators that won't agree with that. So we have to develop it both ways, right? So you can do it either way. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. And then another thing we have coming too is this. It's called their Keep Your Kiosk program. So what you mentioned earlier is if you can sell a membership from that little device, what do you need all this other stuff for, right? Same principle, little purpose-based box, basically, very cost-effective, that will have that credit card reader selling a membership right there off board of the current pay stations. So you pull up, you can buy a membership or redeem a membership right next to the kiosk, and then pull in, and then the kiosk does the rest of it if they want. So if someone wants to pull up and pay with cash, just keep what you got, reuse it. And then this little device, we call it Overpass. Again, it's an overlay of your pass program. We're not very marketing creative. We got to work on that. But it's going to allow you to overlay a pass program at your car wash and not have to replace your kiosks. And you can also migrate memberships to that too. So if you remember what I mentioned, once you get to a membership model, the kiosk for the members is irrelevant. There we go, right? Yeah. So it'll do all the other stuff just from this little card reader that's sitting out there. So we're really excited about that one too. That one we know is a hit. Once it's out and ready, the prototype is in manufacturing. First beta customer is spec'd out. He's ready to go. He's chomping at the bit. So as soon as we get that ready, it's going down there.
Nice.
And we're excited about that one. So some other things coming out for the year. I talked about the marketing side. That's going to be a big push. We've been learning. If you remember rewinding our last podcast, it was all about learning on marketing. We're learning. I failed fast on one too. That was mine. I thought, man, this is the best idea ever. It was a team effort, I should say. So this is the best idea ever. We're going to give all this away to this certain user group, and we're going to go out and we're going to have an event. We're going to buy stuff. We're going to do it. And man, they're all going to become members. Failed. It was like, I'm like so excited. I was, we went and did the event, and it's like,
I remember you said everybody clapped and said this is the best thing ever, and and then you look and there's nothing.
So celebrate the failure, right? So okay, what did we learn from that? We didn't invest much money because it was just us doing it for us at that point. We then put that same offer online and opened it up, which has a much less cost structure to go about doing it, and it's working there. So we took the in-person side and said, man, this fails. And we didn't scrap it completely, just that way of delivering it. Now we did it online, and it's going.
Right.
So fail fast, right? Don't fail expensive.
And work less and make more. It reaches both your goals.
Pretty much, right? Yeah. So that's exciting. The other you talked about too about inspiration, the customer support side. I want to share this one with you too. So this came out of one of our 12 days of Christmas that's going on. This was the Mexican place that just happened yesterday as well. Jennifer replies, "You are all lovely. When I call or I text, there's an immediate response. Thanks.
Wow.
I mean, so you got to deliver service without any service people there, right? There it is. And it's not just the system, it's the people engaging with the system behind the scenes, because you get a certain number of things that come into your car wash, but we still reply with people doing the work. So it's not like there's AI that can be done on all that. We are going to invest in that to help automate some of it, but you have to have a human function still involved in customer service, because the last thing I want is a bad customer experience to lead to them leaving.
Yeah.
Right. And a computer won't recognize that. Right. They're going to, could just go haywire. So we still have people behind that doing that work. And this was a testament of that. And we created that. It's pretty exciting. And our team does a great job. We're very blessed with a good team. A lot of people in the boat rowing that just care. You know, they're here with us.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming in today. Is there anything more you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, one of my biggest takeaways that I just, want to make sure we say is that, the system that you guys have put together have given, everyone from the small single site operator to the large, big timer, the ability to have professional, good software and a system to help them make money with working less. And, a lot of these guys, I think, you said that in the past, a lot of these guys thought that they were buying this side hustle business that was going to be mailbox money, and realized that if there's a lot more work to it, and we're just trying to help them get back to that original goal.
Yep.
So
well, that's a good observation. That's a lot of people do think it's mailbox money. And like my general manager says, this just doesn't happen, right? I mean, there's a joke we have that I won't go into on this one, maybe in another one for that, but yeah, this just doesn't happen. So for me, I want to thank you, Brian, and the team from Professional Car Wash and Detailing for hosting us today. I think, the dialogue is always engaging and fun, and it's just a great environment. You've got a great group of people that listen to these podcasts too, that engage with us. So we hear that from there. I'm very thankful for my customers. That's the lifeblood of this company. They've engaged and bought into us. Some of them bought into us early. I look back at customer 1 and 2, and it's like, yeah, they really bought in early. So we've grown like crazy. We're on an 80% plus growth rate per year. The company's doing really, really well. That's easy when you're small, and now we're getting to a scale that it's still going that way. So we're excited about that. Really, really thankful for my team. We've got a great team that's come together. Small but mighty team, right? We're a bunch of people that are very close knit. Have a great group of suppliers working with us too that we're thankful for. You always have issues out there. Supply chain issues are still happening. They're always going to happen. They're just not as prevalent anymore as COVID, but they're still out there. There's some chatter about what's going to happen with the new administration in the office. So how do you prepare for that with what's going on in the world of tariffs and everything too? So we've been talking about that and making plans for that. And really thankful for my family too. And the ability that I've had to go off and create with the team and my family's support through that. And I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So I gave the example earlier about my wife and the car washing, and that was just a real realization when it hit me, like, oh, it was so simple and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Then I did.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for all those folks, and especially my family.
Well, thank you for coming in, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to join us for this Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, our guests have been Phil Marquardt and Chris Zuchegno from Dencar and United Auto Wash. We hope to see you again on a future episode.